Ashley? Hi, ladies.
Hello.
There we go, up and running, fantastic. Ashley, I think you're still muted. Oh, no, there we go. Perfect. So welcome back to all our folks in the audience. A very warm welcome to Ashley and Carly, who are here with us today. Oh, I will just let you be co-host so that you can share your video. We've had a little issue with that today. I don't know why.
There we go. Hi, how are you?
Hi.
Hi.
So yes, Ashley and Carly here, who are going to be speaking on all things prenatal care from their unique perspectives. So I will step aside and let you ladies introduce yourselves and take the conversation away.
Sure, Carly, did you want to start? Actually, I think we agreed at start, right? So I'll jump in. I am Ashley Brown, founder of Clear Fertility, and we are a digital health company that reduces friction between fertility doctors, reproductive endocrinologists, and fertility patients. So we have an ecosystem created that's a mobile app on the patient side and an iPad app on the physician side that incorporates integrative health into the process of treating infertility and other reproductive challenges.
And I'm Carly Buechling. I'm founder of Natal Comfort and inventor of the Anna Pregnancy Pillow, which is a pregnancy pillow that allows pregnant women to sleep on their stomach throughout their pregnancy. And we are on a mission to help all women have a comfortable, healthy, and positive pregnancy by empowering them to make informed decisions that's best for their bodies, for their babies, and for their birth.
Which I love. And I didn't get enough sleep last night, so I wish I had that pillow, even though I'm not pregnant right now. But I know that we were going to share a bit about our entrepreneurial journeys, and it was actually interesting. We were approached because of having a non-technical background, but you actually have a tech background.
I
you
do.
don't have a medical background. I have a medical background, but no tech background. So we're like, you know, we have synergy there. The femtech, you know, has been this environment has been amazing, and I feel like I say it near daily to someone that it's such a giving and just generous, brilliant area of developing technology, and there's so many amazing founders in this space, and we all are so inextricably tied to what we're building. We really, you know, have a lot of passion behind what we're building, and we're all looking to partner with one another, and so that part has been incredibly gratifying. However, not having a tech background is definitely it is challenging, and it's challenging to be a startup founder in general. I think just, you know, building something from nothing and hoping that it's going to be as big as the vision that you have for it it's a heavy load to carry. It's fun and it's rewarding, but there are definitely more difficult days. And I have to kind of, you know, stick my finger in the air and check the temperature every morning. But it's been incredible in that I've learned so much. I did not get an MBA. And in fact, I tried to switch out of the Columbian School for the Arts at GW into the business school for one semester. I took managerial accounting and econ, and I went running back. So I did not get an MBA, but this past 18 months has been trial by fire, kind of just like tossed in. And I do feel like I've gotten such a rich education in business, in technology and developing technology. I recently finished a program at Columbia that was in Columbia Business School in partnership with HITLAB in digital health strategy, which was great. So there's so much education to be found in this space. You just really have to be working in order to find it. And there are a ton of programs figuring out what's best for you, what works for your schedule, what is going to enrich you and your company the most. Is the challenge. But I think when you find that good information and you find those amazing advisors, it really enriches the process. Now, I did have a medical background, so Claire was, you know, dear to my heart. Coming from assisted reproduction the past 13 years, I've you know, helped hundreds upon thousands of you know, people build families, and so this was my passion, and I did love the clinical side of things. This is a bit different, but Carly, you do have a tech background, and you kind of are sidling into this. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I wanted to go into a medical background, but I am really sensitive to blood and organs, things like that, which is ironic because here I am. But I ended up going into the tech side of things because it was at the beginning of the 21st century, you know, the whole digital age, where everyone started to get a cell phone, or a mobile phone, everyone started getting like a laptop, and friends of mine thought I was crazy. Everyone was pursuing lawyers or doctors or engineers, and I went into IT. I was the only girl in my class. It was really, really a strange concept, but I knew that I wanted to help people. That's what I wanted to do, and I wanted to do that with technology. If I couldn't do it with a medical degree of some sort, that was the aim I was going for. Like, okay, I'll do this. I'll help people in businesses make their lives easier through tech. And it's been an incredible journey. I've been in this field for 12 years. But it was when I embarked on my own journey into motherhood that I suddenly realized that there's a lack of a common understanding with what are we allowed to do, not allowed to do. You will get different advice from different doctors, medical professionals, just based on their own experience and their own training. And I also realized that my body is so different to the next person, to my friend next to me. My symptoms are different.
You have to tell that story.
Yeah, because I mean, I broke my back over 10 years ago, and I was getting manual adjustment and treatment for that. And I loved sleeping on my stomach, and I was getting treated, and this professional said, well, you need to continue getting treatment for your pelvis because your spine is being compromised because of this injury. And when you get pregnant, there's additional weight on your pelvis, there's additional weight on your spine, carrying all that weight around. And so you will need to continue getting adjusted. I said, well, how would you do that? Because I'm lying on my stomach at the moment. How would you do that if I'm pregnant? And she pulled out this contraption, and I was like, what's this? Like, can I sleep on it? And she wasn't actually sure. So this is when even on my way home, I started looking into it, and I found all of this medical research that supported actually the benefits of lying on it. It was actually beneficial for women to spend time on their front. And it dates back to 1998, where the Japanese compared the human race to every other mammal, and we are the only human race or the only mammal who carries our babies upright. And
I didn't even think about that. It's true.
It's fascinating. So, and I just found all of these articles. And then in 2017, the stillbirth study in the same year was released that showed that if you go to sleep on your back, it increases your chances of stillbirth with up to 15%. And it was the first time in history. Stillbirth rates have been increasing year on year since it's been tracked. And that was the first time it started declining, and it's still continuing to decline. So that research made a real impact on women's health, on families, like people bringing their babies home. Like, that's just incredible. So, yeah, I was like, well, and I couldn't find any solution to sleep on my stomach throughout my pregnancy. So I decided I'm going to create the first pillow that would let women sleep on their stomach in the comfort of their own home, comfortably and safely. So, yeah.
There will be a lot of women, I mean, I've shared with you and told you, but as a stomach sleeper myself, I'm like, thank you. That is a lot of women out there who are probably like, yes. I will say that I was so happy that we were paired because you have a sleep focus, and Claire also has a sleep focus to our work as well. Just in our fundamental purpose is to incorporate integrative health into the fertility treatment process, because right now women are not looked at holistically per se. They're given a cookie cutter protocol when they go to a doctor that might be altered for, you know, glaring differences, but generally doctor is going to try their tried and true protocol on you when you come in. And the rate of IVF success is very low, despite it having started in 1978 in the States. It's still around 30%, which is what it was then. And there is a higher success rate as you have more cycles, which is unfortunate because it's so expensive, and people end up paying in excess of $100,000 for something that was initially 25, which is expensive in and of itself, but far more manageable than you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars that it ends up costing a lot of people to go through multiple rounds. And it's not just limited to IVF. There's other, you know, assisted reproductive technological procedures and other fertility treatment that that we encompass, but IVF is obviously what people are most familiar with. But when
it's invasive, Ashley. It's so invasive and stressful.
Yes, all of that. And it's such a weight, and no one really thinks about that. And I think that the doctors know and they understand that these integrative health measures are important, but they don't have the time or the bandwidth to address that. They already, especially having worked with and for doctors for years, I know they already give way more time than they have to most patients. You know, offering, they really can't do anything. They can tell you to lose 15 pounds if they think you should lose 15 pounds, get more sleep if they think you should get more sleep, improve your mental health, don't stress. But, you know, how often are we actually able to do those things when people give us those instructions? It doesn't happen. And so that's where Claire comes in. We, you know, essentially are that digital doula for that process. It's a curated cohort of experts in these areas. And the 5 areas that we're focusing on are mental and behavioral health, sexual health, sleep health, nutrition and fitness, and natural medicine, or, you know, that would encompass body work, acupuncture, all of that as well, and supplements. And so really just getting your hormones in a place where IVF can be more successful. And in some cases, you might not even need it once you've normalized and regulated some systems in your body. But there are some people who are going to need fertility treatment regardless, but we want them to be in a better position for it to be successful. And so in terms of sleep health, and I was sharing this with you, that, you know, people don't realize that you have a 25% increase in chances of success with IVF if you just get 2 more hours of sleep, if you're only getting 6 per night, which is the average that most women get. So just 2 more hours of sleep would regulate your hormones in a way that there's a 25% chance of success increase, which is wild. And, you know, you think back to, that's difficult for a lot of people to get 8 hours of sleep, but it's something that, if it's a measure that is going to improve your chances of success, most people will do it, but they need a plan and they need help enacting that. And so having an expert that's holding your hand through that process is key. But, you know, physicians, I love to say, they, fertility doctors specifically, reproductive endocrinology is such a niche area. It's a really competitive fellowship to get. There aren't a lot of them in this country. They're, you know, one of the rarer types of doctors, because it's really competitive to get that education. But that's not an education in psychiatry or neurology or clinical dietology. So this is expertise that they don't even necessarily have, nor do they have the time to impart it. And so I over years saw that and wanted to plug that hole. And so really passionate about making sure that women are looked at for their own specific lifestyle, family medical history, all of those things that aren't really taken into account, and providing the doctors with that data in a way that enhances the way that they're able to treat and increases the clinical creativity to get people success on the first try without having to do, multiple rounds of this. So that was really the impetus for Claire. That is, I think, in terms of what the solutions used to be, there really hasn't ever been any. There's never been a holistic way to look at this. And I think what you can do, and a lot of women do, is Dr. Google. They end up on Dr. Google with 50 tabs open, looking for information, trying to figure out things themselves, and then you end up paying a lot of money for this kind of disparate areas of care. If you need to see a therapist, if you need help with your hormones or with sleep or with sexual function, and so having all of that in one place was the drive for this, for building.
I admire your ambition, Ashley, and your motivation. I mean, I could just listen to you all day, honestly, because it's absolutely fascinating. And I think just providing a space and a tool where women feel like their hand is being held through this process will already lower their stress, increase their sleep, and give them a better chance, a bigger and better chance at being successful on their fertility journey. So I think it's incredible.
I wanted to ask you, you said that you all were doing trials. Are you preparing to go into trials? We are.
No, but we are partnered with the University of Manchester and the St. Mary's Hospitals, but also based in Manchester, to continue with the research. And we've done our first study this year to build on the existing research. So hopefully we'll share the outcome of that study early next year. And we've already actually looked into building on that research. There's just so much information that we don't know, and every single data point sparks more questions that we don't have answers to. And I think it's really, really important. And what I admire about Claire as well is providing a platform where women are given all this information and they can make the best decision for them, an informed decision. And it's not just coming from one source necessarily. And you can go with what resonates with you. I think women are really good at trusting their gut and listening to their gut. They know if something isn't right, and I think it's wonderful. I think it will be great.
It's so really true. Excited. Just having and being able to make, you're so right. I think the key there is the informed decision, because it's so hard for us to even figure out what our gut is saying when we don't really know what's going on, or we haven't been given like a wide range of information that we feel like we can find ourselves on that spectrum. And I think that's what's so awesome actually about what's happening in digital health and health tech and femtech specifically, is that it is an increase in information that is allowing women to find themselves inside of that, and not having to kind of go into the wild, wild west of the internet, the bowels of the internet, to find information that might actually not even apply to them. It's giving you that chance to have that really curated experience where you're saying, oh, yes, that's me. That sounds like me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And also, I think, like, if you just take something as simple as birth, like on movies, we see women giving birth on their backs, which is actually the most unnatural way to give birth.
Yes.
And so if you are I've been there, I have 2 kids. I can't imagine going on my back and giving birth. It is just the most unnatural way. And if I didn't have the tools and the knowledge to make an informed decision in that moment, about how I want to give birth, I don't know what would have happened, because it didn't resonate with me. It didn't feel like the right thing to lie on my back in that very moment. And I think that's just a simple example of how, if we show women all the different things that it could possibly be, and provide them with a guide of a starting point, then that in itself is really powerful and what they need, because we are all so different,
Also different. And I'm obsessed with the midwives Instagram accounts and everything. I'm like following them all the time and watching these birds, but this birthing process happened so differently over all of their different patients. And that's amazing. We are not shown that. We really have this Hollywood version of what it means to have a baby. And the first time that I, really dialed into that community and started watching the kind of radical birthing community explode, and women having babies in the shower, in the bathtub, crouched down in the kitchen. And it's like, yes, this is how it's supposed to be. You are supposed to move in the way that your body is calling you to. And that goes back to that cookie cutter consideration. It's just, we're not all the same. And so figuring out what works for our specific bodies, it not only benefits us in that moment, but it reduces trauma over time, because you carry so much trauma when you're forced into a certain situation. And I have friends that have had terrible birthing processes or journeys in the hospital. And I'm not anti-hospital, but, they weren't really allowed to move around or do anything. And it caused extreme pain. And then it really affected their ability to bond with their child post-birth for the first few weeks. And that affects everything. And so it really is something that can avalanche. And so it's important to control these processes that affect our bodies and our minds, because, the mind-body connection is so strong.
Exactly. I mean, if you think about it, we have a whole organ designed to grow and birth babies, a whole extra organ just to do that.
Which is crazy. Right.
It's crazy. And how much do we know about that uterus? How much do we know about that actual organ? And I think there's so much more to find out about it, how it works, and
agreed, and how it's connected to everything else.
How it's connected exactly to your ovaries, to your, even like something like your periods, and I can imagine something like Claire could also provide women with signs in their period cycle and in their menstrual cycle and symptoms they have, to say that maybe there's something for you to consider early on if you want to have kids, and because that's part of it, isn't it? That's the biggest
huge. Yes.
Your cycle is what determines your ovulation. So
that's right. It's a huge indicator. And, most people don't know how to read that, or even a lot of people actually who are reproductively challenged don't ovulate very often. That's something that, they might even be having a period without ovulating. And so normalizing that, and understanding that that's something that needs to be regulated first is huge. And that's something that can be regulated outside of medication, because that's a symptom, not, there's something off in your body if that's happening. It's a manifestation, not something just to throw medication at. And so there's something holistic that needs to be addressed there. And that is what we want to do. I wanted to ask you, so now it's the stomach sleepers, which I'm personally grateful for. Do you see yourself, what are your plans going down the road? Is there something for other types of sleepers? What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, well, sleep is definitely our niche and our speciality that we're going down to. But we really are now at this stage focused on providing that space for all women to make that informed decision about their pregnancy and to ensure that it's as comfortable as possible, that it's positive and that it's healthy. So we've now partnered with a range of experts in the medical field, again, like a yoga teacher, Pilates teacher, osteopath, a midwife, a mental health coach, to provide also like a holistic view and people that you have access to and resources you have access to in order to make sure that you are, experiencing the best possible pregnancy. So that's now my big focus for 2022 with Natal Comfort and building that out. So yeah. And you with Claire?
Yeah, so we're going into in-clinic trials in January and going to market in April of next year. But I wanted to ask you too, I don't think we've talked about it, but finding those experts is challenging. I've been so blessed to find a few amazing experts to help us build out our stable of experts as we grow in the those 5 areas I mentioned. But it is difficult to nail down the right people that kind of get your company culture and understand the mission. And also have that expertise and bring, the gravitas to the process. So how did you find your people? Were there introductions or?
I just, what I've done, and this is years of doing it, is just nurturing relationships that people that I admire, that I found in the field, that I've admired, that I followed through social media. Thank goodness for social media, because that's opened our world. And then just approach them and explain what we're here to do, and having just an open, honest conversation, making sure that they are on the same, journey as we are, and that we share a common passion. So, but it's hard, actually. It's very, very hard. And we had to turn down quite a few people because we just didn't feel that it was the right fit for us and where we're going. But I think it's something that can you build it up. It's not just something where you snap your fingers and it appears. And I think it's always good to look for more people, and people of different backgrounds, different sizes, different shapes, different education fields, even different education universities and things like that, because they all will bring something different to the table and something unique that will resonate.
And appeal to different people. Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
exactly.
You never know who's going to make someone comfortable. Well, we are getting the hook.
Oh,
We knew this was going to happen, though. We talked about this. This was not enough time for us. But I just adore you. We're going to do an Instagram live soon and continue this conversation. But I'm really grateful to HITLAB for having us.
Yeah, thank you, HITLAB. And it was so lovely to see you again, Julia, and also for chatting to you, Ashley. I love talking to you. I'm going to talk to you so much more.
Yes, of course. Of course. I adore you. And Julia, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
No problem, ladies. Thank you so much for joining us and for the awesome discussion. And this is, this is the magic of HITLAB. This is what we're all about, sort of building these communities around different areas of digital health, connecting people who get immense value and joy from each other, as you two clearly do. So we're kind of, driving that mission in both ways here, what we actually do, and then the community byproduct element that's coming out as well. So that's lovely to see. Thank you so much for your time, ladies.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.